Orders of Tyria.
Your Majesty, Captain Thackeray, I was summoned.
Indeed. I'm glad you're here, my friend. Kryta needs you
My
once
friend.
more.
You know I'll do anything I can to help. What's the problem, Captain?
There's a swamp in southern Kryta called Lichcroft Mere. The area's been hit hard by our war with the Centaurs. Most of the lumber there goes to build catapults and defenses, so it's common practice to use strips of marsh moss instead of firewood on cold nights. However, the Seraph have brought me recent reports that risen undead, servants of Or, have been seen in the swamp.
Risen? The dragon's minions? If they're in the swamp, anyone who goes in there would be in great danger.
Precisely. The three orders of Tyria are pushing to be involved, but can't agree on a plan. While they bicker, my people are at risk. Hero, I have summoned you to act as advocate of the crown. I want you to meet with the orders and take charge of the situation.
You'll be dealing with the Vigil, the Durman Priory, and the Order of Whispers. All three specialize in fighting Zaitan and its minions. However, they all use different methods. It'll be your job to decide which plan is best, and then act on it.
You will have the full authority of the crown to handle this situation. Will you accept this task, Hero?
Your Majesty, I will. I'm honored to serve Kryta and my queen.
Thank you. Go, and meet with the Order representatives as soon as possible. I look forward to your report.
For the inclusion. For the Emperor. I just want to look at something because I need to talk to my Warhammer knowledge expert. Warhammer. Simple soldier. Yeah, I need to talk to my Warhammer friend. I need to think of a good like Guild Wars name just for like Warhammer, you know? Because like the Norn would also come into play there. It's actually another thing that I need to go to Reddit for. We're actually getting our karma back up slowly, which is shocking.
Come on, pick a number. It's fun. Where have you been? First person alone in Compton.
Finally. Thank Duena you're here. I am Scholar Josir of the German Priory. We've
Josia.
been expecting you.
You're here to make decisions, and that's exactly what we need.
For once, Ehan's right about something. I'm Hiroki, a crusader with the Vigil. The Risen forces are active in Lichcroft Mere. There are missing villagers, mostly children. We've got to get soldiers in there. The Vigil has a squad standing by. They're ready to sweep the area on your signal, Advocate. Just give the word.
Advocate, I'm sure you can see that such an approach would only cause more problems. The German Priory has a wondrous device called the Mortis Verge. We believe in using intellect to fight the dragons. Saves on manpower, you know, and we have achieved some marvelous advancements.
Your device is theoretical, untested. You want to risk children on that? Vigil steel is tried and true.
I'm with the Order of Whispers. We brought this to the Queen's attention, but we'll leave the frontline fighting to the others.
Very well. Hiroki, Josir, give me a moment to think this over and then I'll decide.
We're going Vigil, boys. Can't be a soldier if we don't have a front line. Haven't seen Tybalt in years. See, like this right here, if I didn't do this map completion, I could have did one of the other starting zones, and then when I came back, I could have did this after I finished this area during the missions, like the story missions.
Rumors were true. Glad to see you, Advocate, but I wish I had better news. We've got a problem. The Vigil squad sent to meet us has been overrun during an initial sweep of the swamp. The area's crawling with hostiles. The children are still out there, and now my soldiers are in jeopardy as well. It's down to you and me.
wrong, little one? Scared or just green?
And what, pray tell, is wrong with being green?
Oh, nothing, ma'am. It's just a turn of phrase.
Turn your phrase to battle, soldier. Here they come!
This is not over.
Strong. Strong.
Incoming! Incoming! Too many to count!
You're a big help. What kind of Asura can't count?
Ready your weapons, not your sarcasm, you idiots. Incoming! Don't give up. Hiroki will see us through.
Strong.
the undead a decisive blow. Remove the army, and we remove the threat.
There's an intelligence to their movements. We need to discover the root of the problem, not just follow them from fight to fight.
At the cost of lives, the undead are attacking now. If we sit idle, people will die.
Hello, stranger.
Advocate, the representatives have reported your success. Well done.
Thank you, Logan. I'm glad we saved the children, but the undead are still a problem.
I'm told the children saw a Seraph soldier in the swamp, and their stories were quite appalling. They were as frightened of him as of the undead. If this was that soldier, the children say he's become violent and incoherent. They also say that the undead weren't attacking him.
There aren't any Seraph outposts in Lichcroft Mere. What's a lone soldier doing out there?
According to Seraph reports, a corporal named Kellock didn't report for duty.
Some must fight so that all may be free.
Good to meet you.
It's worse than we feared. Zaitan's minions are everywhere.
Thanks, but don't let up. Everybody else is still fighting inside.
Move in. There are more of us fighting inside.
Thanks, but don't let up. Everybody else is still fighting inside.
Go on ahead.
everybody else is still fighting inside.
The law is on your side. May Balthazar strengthen you.
I carry only the highest quality goods.
Alastia Crow had a rare talent for precognition. I wonder what Kellogg wanted to know.
Whatever it was, I think the information drew my back. I'm surprised that doesn't happen to more Priory scholars, too.
Clearly, the Order of Whiskey shows no respect for human research.
Caravan from Lion's Arch is late, and we're having trouble getting meat and milk from the outlying.
Stockpiling staples is the right call. I know this isn't quite a siege. I certainly can't depend on the caravans like I used to.
War can't last forever.
Next payday, I'll be back.
Advocate, good to see you. How'd your mission go?
We didn't find Kellic, but we discovered that he's connected to a pirate named Alastia Crow.
I want to talk to her and see what she knows.
Talk with her? I'm afraid that's impossible. She's dead. Her pirate ship, the Ravenous, was destroyed by an undead attack 2 days ago.
You're sure she's dead? Did any of her crew survive?
Even if she's dead, Alastia was a seer. She might have seen this coming.
What can I do for you?
Woo. Woo.
May the Six watch over you.
You there! If you have business, speak to Captain Marlowe.
Get the devil has done for the res. Yo ho ho.
land for the weak and helpless. You?
Good to see you, recruit. It's an honor to...
Look out!
Won't stop me!
Threshold achieved.
well-tended garden is a work of art.
People say, how do you do that? If you go to my Telegram page, you can click the link. There's a second one that we have on the board. I'll tweet it. You can donate. But Tim, I get right 30 more story. I was in court last September in D.C. Federal court seeking trial. They sued me for breach of fiduciary trespass and some other things. Jury trial, democracy partners. Ron Kramer was that in the video on Thread. I was in a sensory deprivation chamber, aka the federal court, for like a week and a half in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, 609. Yeah.
All this sawing and hammering and pounding, it's enough to wake the undead.
More violence, I say. Less violence.
Goodbye.
You have any more of that backstab?
Fresh out, sorry.
Damn. My back hurts. Lifted a bag of bricks wrong.
Ooh, I hate that.
Crap. Thinking about making a Warhammer guild. I don't know if I want to start from scratch though, it'd be kind of annoying.
Head back to the island. Everyone, hurry!
Kill couriers and pets, free prisoners,
We have to buy time for the
destroy
others.
turrets, generally wreak havoc.
They're after the escapees. Hold them off.
Now I'll rotate around through here just to get that vision. Golems in the experiment, fight Skrit, knock over Skrit shrines, activate tracking devices. It's crazy how we can just viciously murder Skrit throughout the game, and then later on you can just, oh yeah, no problem, I'm gonna team up with you, I like Skrit now, you know? You can say they're different factions or whatever, but the Skrit that we team up with in the storyline, they're basically the same.
I need some help!
Good meeting.
Gaining adrenaline.
Thank you for helping.
I know I have another one of these. I don't think I ever figured out where to use them though.
Thank you for helping. Thank you for helping.
Almost there.
Use the jumper or settle this the old-fashioned way. Repair fishing nets, traps, cut off wave rider population. Help divers fend off nightmare court raids.
The defenses won't last long. I'll prepare another line. Shore up defenses. We must protect this location. We need more mortars. Grab a seed and help out.
Could have swore it was telling me there was a viewpoint right here. Oh, there is. Dude, I'm blind somehow. Just ran past that earlier without even touching it. These people with their flyers have such an advantage, man. I'd probably be more tempted to get a flyer if I actually do start to do the key farms and storylines like this more. But I prefer not to at the moment.
mean and ugly.
Crates are mean and ugly. That is both racist and hateful.
You've proven your worth. The sun truly shines through you. You may not be one of us in body, but in spirit you are clearly of the Highlands.
See, like, stuff like this is cool, but it's like you would have to have a guild or a group of players that want to just hang out in the middle of Quetzal Bay for no reason to play on this instrument. That's the problem here.
That wall is big.
Also, the other thing is, like, compared to events, like, me thinking about this right now, if you're doing events to level up like I did for a long time, you just do the events on the map, you don't get black line keys. Like, you're not making any money while doing the map completion, you know? But also, it's like we've been playing for like 1 or 2 hours the last couple days. We've been getting about 20 levels each day. So you're looking at like, oh my god. Oh my god. Is this not? That's about 10 levels an hour, so you're looking at 8 hours potentially. Defeat crate, rescue slaves, put slave remains to rest. That's nasty. Imagine you're on guard duty and you just let some dude walk in here and do this. Just commune with your Peleisa of power. Guessing they're saying crates eat people. Alright. All those people are gonna die now, that's cool. I'm fine with it. Pretty close. I like this. It feels less like map completions and more like a mini game. Repair signs, light torches. Destroy trophy spikes, poison troll food. Look how many waypoints are right here. Holy crap.
Good riddance. I'm glad that filthy beast is finally dead.
Calm down, Trump. Keeping Spike from the dead doesn't help anyone.
I'll take my Spike to the grave.
My favorite goal.
know this guild name, but I'm not sure if I want to join any fancy guilds right now. It's not that I have the biggest problem with a big guild, like I wouldn't mind, but it's gonna be something like doing content with the people, and then you gotta have meta build, and then they're gonna tell you about all the stuff you gotta do, and I don't particularly feel like dealing with that. Something. What is that?
Thanks. I'm so...
That was a lot of people in one area.
I feel strong.
So that's the dungeon. We still gotta go south anyway to get this. And that. Let's go this way and then we'll come back around.
Gaining adrenaline.
Corrupted plant. Those might not be worth my time. They take longer to get rid of.
I just keep getting better and better.
That's really annoying. It's in my way. Only 12% of the world complete so far. That's crazy. there's something there, I'm gonna be a little bit upset about it.
You can see all the way to Twilight Aqua up in this tower. Has there ever been a clear day in the Witchmere Swamp?
Not in the 5 years I've been here.
See, this is so 100% representing on all characters is required. I get that, because if you do that, it makes it to where you get more guild funds and stuff and makes your guild seem more popular. If you're gonna take a 2-week vacation, you gotta tell your boss. Anyway. It must be these people. Maybe not. I don't know.
Smoke's deadline.
Squish spiders and eggs. Gotcha.
There's one to remember me by.
I'm gonna make your infestation twice as bad. Are we really a hero at this point, you know? This is what I'm saying, if you have like 20 people with you doing this and you summon like 200 spiders.
Come talk to me. Hey, I saw you look.
Anyway. Flame Legion. Deactivate something. Okay, I just had a Flame Legion inside of a shell for some reason. Yeah, it feels a little bit like Guild Wars 1 right now. Kill rats, clean up gear and gunk. Lazy workers. I don't know how I get by without having a proper MMO mouse, you know? Guild Wars 1, it wasn't really such an issue. You could click skills and stuff and be pretty fine. Guild Wars 2 is a little bit more difficult without a proper mouse. I think the rifle, like if you're doing lower tier zones, I think the rifle would be a little bit better just so you could shoot these things and be done with it. Garnet Pebble. Kill Flame Legion, destroy their turret power sources.
More to explore.
This place really hasn't aged well.
Begin destruction protocol.
I shall break you.
Adrenaline rising.
Man, this area sucks. Imagine if someone was killing all the creatures and stuff. You just, I guess maybe you could just respawn in a different land, like go to a different map zone, and you'd be fine. But like right now, I have nothing I can do here. Okay, so now we have. Almost looks like there's a path there, but shouldn't be.
Rise. And foul the waters of this land. Show them the power of Baal.
Power of Balefire. About time to eat. I'm getting so hungry right now.
Hail, citizen.
Are the Devour babies going to have a warband?
Devourlings aren't like us. They don't get war bands. No. Because they're war beasts. War beasts don't have war bands.
War beasts don't have war bands.
Strong.
You have a question?
Strong.
Of course, I'm missing like the most basic POI.
Come talk to me.
I didn't realize there was a bar there. I didn't even realize there was an exit here. This whole time, Through all these years, I've been going through this path in the middle, and I remember I used to get, like, confused when I first was on this map, because I was like, where the hell's the exit? This whole time, there's a ramp right here. That's from the, entrance area thing, too. What does it say? Destroy wine cask, kill ghosts, assist Legion light torches. See, Baradin's estate. So Baradin was, I guess, technically king of Ascalon at one point. Why you're destroying perfectly good wine casks, I have no idea.
It's after me. I'm too pretty to die.
Alright, let's just go back south. See, Char is one of those lands that always has a lot of people in it too, which is very weird to me. Like, I get they're pretty iconic in general, but... He goes assist Ass Legion patrols.
If you doubt it, go and ask our old leader. His grave's near Ash.
Your flash attack lacks coordination.
Say that again, I'll slit your
Tighten it up, or we'll put you as a war dog.
Defeat Ghosts, assist Ass Legion. Ascalonian artifacts. See, I feel like your first map you should just do passively. All your events that you can. Black rectangle. Oh, I covered up my camera, the webcam. Basically. And yes, Warrior is the best class. I have mainly played Warrior for the last however long it's been, and I have a bunch of Warriors. Can't really beat them.
Typically, we'd sneak up and assassinate our target. So we set and triggered the explosives.
Okay, so we got all of that. Oh. Maybe. I can't have stream snipers on this game, you know? Yeah, I think generally for like new players, I would recommend like Warrior and Necro as my top picks, probably. Then like Engineer might be in there. There's a big storm going down today. It's gonna be a terrible day at work, I can already tell. I need to invest in an umbrella. I'm not super opposed to ranged weapons, but I don't really enjoy basic engineer, and I probably wouldn't like it as like a main class, but sometimes I think about doing like the hollow smith and stuff just for like thematic effect.
Interesting.
Icebound. I mean, I use longbow on warrior a decent bit. Like a lot of my builds in the past, I tend to use longbow quite a lot, just because it works with cleanse so well. I don't really have a problem with longbows in the game at all. Like they have I don't really play ranger too much, but I have a ranger build that basically it dumps massive DPS like over like 4 or 5 seconds and then just runs off. The warrior bow I think is just probably one of the most solid like weapons for PvP for me. Because with the bow you can basically burn mesmers and thieves, like they can't just run away from you or whatever, they'll just burn to death. And they also kill all the mesmer clones with your AoE damage. And like rifle with the warrior, I don't necessarily like it a whole lot, but I've had debates with people in the past because they say it's terrible, like the weapon's terrible, but I really don't think it's that bad. I think it has a very niche kind of thing for it. Like each warrior weapon has like a very niche sort of extra thing that it can do. So like people that play warrior, they want like the rifle reworked because it doesn't do like a ton of damage. Like so like a thief can do like 60k burst damage or whatever on their rifle. A warrior rifle, I mean, even with like berserker gear and stuff, you might do like 20k damage or whatever on a burst. But with a berserker build, you can do a 20k burst into a 20k burst into like a 20k volley back into a 20k burst. But even with core warrior, which I think core warrior is very powerful, like out of all the core classes, I would take warrior over 99% of them any day. Like I'll take a core warrior versus any of the elite specs. But the rifle on a warrior, like core warrior and stuff, the benefit is that it has pierce. So what people aren't considering is like it's all these meta warriors that say the rifle sucks and they can't use them in meta events. I don't know about weakest. I mean, I haven't played PvP in a little bit since I came back to the game, but I've played PvP for years and I've never had problems with warrior. Mainly core warrior. I just like if you're doing like a max DPS sort of build on a warrior in PvP, you're gonna get stomped. But if you have like a pretty good balanced build, you're fine. You're gonna be 100% fine. Like I have like what was it when like Power Reaper came out and it was like stomping everybody in PvP. I never had a problem with it because like the thing with a lot of the elite specs that I found when I was playing PvP was they seem to be very very bursty. So like a warrior berserker or something, they enter berserk mode, they have like a really high DPS for a certain period of time. Power Reaper, they enter their shroud, they have like this really high DPS combo. Um uh uh Fucking dragon whatever it is for the guardian, the dragon thing. They do like their little bow combo that traps you into a little trap area that does massive damage for like a short period. It's just as long as you survive their little gimmicky trick thing, yeah, Dragon Hunter. As long as you survive their gimmicky trick thing, they lose. And with Core Warrior, you can get, I think 15 seconds or so of damage immunity, and with Berserker Warrior, you can get like 25 seconds of damage immunity, something like that. So, especially with the like Defiant stance, like basically if you fought like a Power Reaper, they would like hit you, you get a little bit low, they try to full combo you. You just activate Defiant stance and you stand in it, and then trade with them. Um, Dragon Hunter's sort of the same way. They'll pull you into their little trap thing. You just Defiant stance it, regen all your health, and then you just fight them while they don't have any cooldowns. Just weird stuff like that. But it really comes down to like your interrupts. You have to understand what your opponent's build is and figure out when to interrupt it. Like shield bash and stuff is really important. But I don't enjoy power builds in PvP. Like I do either condition builds or hybrid builds generally, uh, or like crowd control type builds. Like a great sword warrior or an axe warrior can do really good, but you have to burst all of your enemies down. If you play something like that, you want to like float on the edge of a fight and just wait, and then like jump in and just do massive damage to somebody and take them out of the fight really quick. Otherwise, yeah, I like conditions because it shuts down thieves and mesmers pretty hard. But if you go full condition damage and you fight like a necro or a guardian or something that has a lot of healing and condition cleanse, and they're sort of tanky, they might survive and you might get stuck fighting them forever. I feel like there's something over there that I'm missing, but maybe not. Rifle to capture minotaurs, drakes, spar with them in fighting pit. I can't just kill it. That sucks. That being said, not particularly. I looked over their skills. I know kind of what they do. It's like basically an assassin guardian. I have 2 guardians that I'm building that I planned on doing that with, but I mainly play warriors. I haven't got around to my guardians yet. Versawosh though, I know it has the little sword effects, but I just came back to the game not too long ago, so I haven't really caught up with all the new stuff. All the EOD elite specs, I don't have a full grasp on yet. I haven't really fought them. Mainly because I really like my characters to look good and have a specific kind of purpose, you know? The other thing is that if you start... Yeah, I've played the Path of Fire elite specs. See, but for me, like, so the last 10 years or whatever, I have avoided playing elite specs for a long time. Like, I've always played core warrior for the most part. So I fought everything with core warrior until like when I came back to the game, I started using berserker more. And in my head, there's only a few things like Spellbreaker Warrior. You can have infinite protection, and you can have boon removal, which is really important. And Berserker Warrior, everyone uses them for max damage, but I use it for high defense. So if I want to like go do something and be a super tank and have like full damage gear on, I go Berserker and I get 100% damage immunity, and I can just set and tank everything for people. But yeah, each of my warriors and stuff, they have their own thing. The other thing, though, is that when you start playing the game, like if you haven't played Guild Wars or anything for a really long time and you don't have like money invested into it, the thing is like you can buy like an armor slot. Right? For 500 gems, and I think the equipment slot is like 300 gems. So you're spending 800 gems to expand your character slots, when you could spend 800 gems on a character expansion and just build another warrior and get 3 more armor slots, or was it 3 or 2? 2 more armor slots and 3 skill slots. It's just cheaper. But you also get the benefit of, like, if you play through the story again, you get more map completions, you get more Black Lion keys, all of that stuff. But like when the game came out, I remade characters over and over, trying to find the best combinations for like racial skills and things. But eventually I got annoyed with how all the races looked, so I went back to human for the most part. I think racial skills still have like a part to play if you want to like really min-max your builds, but it's not a big concern for me right now.
I'm an achiever.
That's something I like. I like to test theories that people don't really like, you know. So like racial skills, if you take a chronomancer, it can actually be pretty impactful. So like different classes for different things. Yeah, I mean that's fine. I mean, it's like I have a Char warrior I've had since launch. But he's always been like maximum DPS, but I never use him anymore. Just like stuff like that. Also, the more character slots that you have, the more birthday gifts that you get. So there's a lot of benefit to having more character slots early than to have other things also. Because you like right now you could have I've remade characters so much that my stuff is all over the place, but if you had like 20 characters from 10 years ago and you're getting like 10 birthday gifts, Yeah. It's just little benefits. I mean, you get little XP buffs, stuff like that. But yeah, I like making builds that a lot of people don't really try out very much. Like, so like the Sylvari, you can get like 3 seconds of damage immunity. So like, if you wanted to have a lot of damage immunity, like on a Mesmer, for some reason, I think Mesmers are probably the best class to use racial skills with. But like, if you're a warrior and you want a poison field, the Asura little radiation zone is a free poison field for you. Like, you don't have access to poison with anything else, but with a Mesmer, especially a Chronomancer, you can do like 2 or 3 of those poison fields, and you can do like my human Chronomancer. I can infinitely summon Hounds of Balthazar or use the Spirit of Grinth over and over again because I just reset time and then I get a free reset on the skill and I can just keep using it for the most part. Um, so with like an Asura one, you can have a combat golem that like puts up your barrier. If you get like 10 people with combat golems, you basically get infinite like range projectile barriers. I mean, you probably like it a little bit more than I do. I used a lot of boosts in the past. I still think about it, but I think like to really enjoy Guild Wars, you actually need to make yourself sit back and kind of, relax a little bit, take your time. See, because like I generally use exotic gear for like 99% of everything that I do, but I'm slowly getting more into like ascended gear over the time period. See, but like from what I've learned for a while though, is like the boosts are fine, but it's just not a big deal in general. Because like build wise, I always want to like max out my character pretty quick. But for like game enjoyment, I think too many people like just buy their gear and stuff. Like if you actually go and just use the gear that you find and not worry so much about like maxing your stuff out, you get a lot of extra enjoyment out of it, I think. Like the dungeons and story missions are going to be a little bit more challenging for you. If you want to go kill bosses for gear, it becomes so much more impactful that like you found gear that actually works. Stuff like that. Like once you get money, you can just sit there and buy whatever you want on the trading post. Dude, this is how rifles should be. Rifles should get a bleed. Look at that. Physical, projectile, you get bleed, and you get damage. That'd be great. Even blunderbuss here. Look at that bleed. They should, like, slightly modify the arms trait on warriors to, like, allow bleed for power weapons. Be so good. I've already figured out the other day that, like, how strong, like, bleed stuff is actually on warrior. That's what I'm saying about builds. I like challenging myself and using builds that aren't really normal. So, like, the Chronomancer racial skill thing isn't the biggest deal. Like, I mean, you can get 3 seconds of immunity pretty consistently with turrets. With the Sylvari thing, you can get the, you know, Balthazar hounds and stuff for condition damage and stuff. But the bleed on crit sigils, I've never seen anyone use them. They're super cheap on the trading post. And I figured out how good they are on warrior, especially the longbow. So the benefit was, if you have, so say you use rabid gear, all right? So you have precision, toughness, and condi damage. My old build that I used to use back in the day when there's traits that let you stack armor had like undead ruins, and basically you would just sit there, have like 5,000, 6,000 armor and heavy condition damage, and burn people to death and face tank their stuff. Now, with a longbow, though, you can do the discipline tree, do burning for 1 second on your auto attack. Then you're shooting 2 arrows at once every time that you auto attack, and you're going to get 2 seconds of burn for 2 arrows. And with the precision tree, you're going to get like at least 70% chance to crit. But you're getting 2 arrows off, so you got twice the chance per auto attack. And then if you have the arms trait, every time that you crit, you're going to get a 33% chance to apply a bleed stack. But you shoot 2 arrows at once, so you're going to get twice the ability to do bleed. And then if you have the sigil that applies bleed on crit, your bow can do the bleed on crit, the bleed on trait, times 2, so you can potentially get 3 bleeds off of that, and then 2 seconds of burning, okay, per bow attack, right? And then you can do unblockable attacks for 12 seconds with a 20-second cooldown, which means even in PvP, you're just going to be set there and be able to auto attack people even if they try to block straight through. And so your basic attacks do like 2,000 bleed, 2,000 burn or something just passively. And then if you use your bow burst skill on top of that, you can apply a combo field on your arrows, which will give you 2 more additional burns, and the burst skill can apply on hit effects, so it can proc your crit thing. I think there are enemies that have immunity to conditions, but I'm not 100%. Structures and stuff can be immune to conditions. There used to be bosses that were immune to conditions and crits, but that was a long time ago. I think there's still condition like reduction or condition immunity bosses though.
Your elders.
Potentially, yeah. I've already had these like debates over like balancing gear in the game for PvE, but damage builds don't enjoy my my ideas very much. But here's what I've also found: like if you do a 5, because I'm gonna have to go here in a minute and get ready for work, but if you have like a 5% damage increase sigil on your like on your greatsword, for instance, and you're doing 10,000 damage per auto attack, you're gonna get like a 500 damage boost. If you do bleeding sigils, you can get like 10 stacks of bleed, do over 500 damage per tick, and it still ticks if the enemy's away from you as well. But if you do sword, shield, greatsword, and you have like the discipline line or whatever on your character, you can sit there and just repeatedly go back and forth from flurry to 100 blades, and then you'll have like 5k bleed stacks proccing while you're going to your 100 blades and doing your full damage 100 blade combo. And you get that if you have quickness, you can do your flurry and you'll still have the immobilization effect on the enemy and be able to do 100 blades and get almost your whole 100 blades off before your thing wears off. The other thing is that if you're in a warrior and you're in a PvP situation and one warrior has like maximum DPS like berserker gear or something, and you were gonna run like soldier gear or sentinel gear, like soldier gear, you can have pretty similar power levels to berserker, but you can also spec your trait lines because since you have so much more health, you don't necessarily need as much regen. And then if you do your traits right, you can get 300% damage on the enemy that you're attacking. And basically you can still have burst damage for like 10,000 to 15,000 damage burst while having high armor, while having higher health, while having like a pretty decent power level. And if you fight a warrior that's damage based in PvP or like World v World, you can basically negate all their damage. The same argument that they have why they don't want me to have like bosses with like crit immunity because it's a wasted combat stat. Balanced stance here will just remove their crit damage on me. And then if you do like sentinel gear and you stack protection and you have weakness on the enemy, you can negate like a full damage warrior's damage into like 500 damage on you, which is crazy. Yeah, conditions are pretty good, and they don't have that limit on them like they used to. But my thing's even with power builds, you can still make something that's like pretty strong with conditions. So like for me, on this character, once I get berserker gear, I'm gonna go sword, shield, greatsword on this character, and I'm going for maximum might generation. So I'm actually going to use aristocracy runes. So every time that I use a burst skill, I'm going to apply weakness and get 5 stacks of might. So I'm going to get more total might generation than like most powered greatswords will. But I'm going to put bleeding sigils and stuff on my greatsword. So I'm going to get a lot of bleed procs, and I will get a lot of might generation together. And then the combination of 100 blades and flurry is going to cover my need. Like I don't need bull's charge because I can just flurry you and then go straight into 100 blades. And if you're like in World v World and you had like 4 people running a similar build with you, any one of you could just flurry somebody for immobilization while the other 100 blades them at the same time. I'm more interested in group warrior builds than anything at this point. But yeah, there's a lot of weapon combinations that in warrior groups, I think specifically, there's a lot of build and weapon combinations that you can do that would make sense because like the rifle, for instance, like if you go full damage, you can do 20k DPS burst, and you can literally kill a whole group of people in PvP if they stack up. But if you have a bunch of warriors together, even if you do 5k damage, y'all can all burst at the same time on targets. Your rifles pierce, and you can get unblockable attacks for 12 seconds. And even if you do like Berserker, then you can pierce with your rifle and pierce with your Berserker like flurry that you can do. So it'd be really easy to just burst down one target really quickly. Dude, am I missing something here? But yeah, this warrior specifically is gonna be I'm just gonna use builds that are like core stats, just cheap builds like soldier gear. I want to do soldier, sentinel, rabid, berserker. That's probably the top ones that I want to do on this warrior. Yeah, I think it like the slower that you play Guild Wars, the better it is. Just like the lower tier gear that you use, the more like. But I used to level up just doing events for like a long time, and now I'm starting to get like, you know, world map completions and stuff would just be more money efficient for the most part. Because I get the potential for like black line keys. Like you can only farm, this is what I'm working on basically, is you can only farm one black lion key every week or whatever. Talking about the original World v World map. Am I dumb? Is there an underground entrance somewhere that I'm missing? Yeah, here we go. I mean, I can't remember much about those days either. But I don't think it's necessarily worth it to do the events anymore on the maps. I mean, I think there was like a jumping puzzle or something that was sort of in the sky. I don't really remember exactly with World v World. When you say like something in the sky, I think PvP map, the freaking whatchamacallit, Skyhammer or whatever that thing's called. I mean, it's probably worth it to graze the events when you go by. I mean, that's what people did in the past when they did those big Zergs leveling. But for me, like, I don't necessarily care about getting to level 80 super quick anymore because every time that I hit level 80, I can't make myself do map completions anymore. So like all my other characters, if I maxed them up or I boosted them, or if I played the full storyline and got to level 80, then I never had any interest doing the map completion, you know? But like you would play the whole storyline or you would do all the events and get to 80 and you wouldn't have earned very much gold. So like what I'm working on right now is they nerfed the thing a long time ago to where you can only get one black lion key per week or whatever. But how quickly can you go through the whole storyline, you know? If you can get it done in under a week, then it could be worth it. Or you could get one started and then the week resets. You do the beginning part of your map completion on your second character and then finish the storyline on the but I don't know exactly like when the black line keys are rewarded. Like I know you got level 10, level 40, you got like a 30% chance on each of the maps for the most part. And then you have certain like the expansion stories or something give you them as well. But the issue I'm having is they have the system in place where like if you wanted to replay the storyline after you get done with it, you don't get any rewards for it. And I personally really like replaying the storyline with people, but you don't get no money. Like everything that I enjoyed doing in Guild Wars 2 earns zero profit. Like I played PvP for years, and then I went into 1v1 arena duels that had no profit because they're all in custom arenas. Played that for a long time. You know, doing guild events or leading anything, it's just no money in it. You know, leveling characters, testing builds. I mean, you might enjoy it for now, but eventually I'll run out of stuff to say. I'm more of like a theory buildcraft guy than anything. And if someone says something sucks, like, I get obsessed and try to make it work somehow. But if you know any, like, if you know anything for like, the survival game Scum, like, or Bannerlord, Mountain Blade Bannerlord, or like, Escape from Tarkov, like all those games I've played in the past, and literally all I did was like test builds, test what leveled up the best, test tactics and stuff to use on maps. The first time I blew up on Twitch really before was when I played Escape from Tarkov when it came out on my old PC. I had 20 frames per second on that game, and it was like a really serious tactical shooter. And I had a title that was like Marlax 20 FPS, and I literally just showed people how to make money and kill people on that game without any frame rates. It was crazy. But like, is every time I swap a game, I drop back down again. Like when I was playing Scum, I bumped up to like 200 people or 300 people at some point. And then when I left Scum, like it dropped back down again. So it's just I get bored basically. Got to have that mental stimulation. But have you ever seen like popular streamers that like they always have that talk, like they'll play like let's say like League of Legends, right? Like you play League of Legends for like 10 years, 20 years, whatever. And eventually they'll have that talk where it's like, you know, I kind of want to branch out and play other games and all that stuff, you know? Like they always have that big talk with their community. I just swap games. Like I play games to play games. It's more of a like a puzzle channel. Yeah. I mean, I understand that. you only want to follow one, you only want to play one game, it makes sense to me. But I just like the craft of it, going in and testing stuff like Elden Ring. When people were playing through Elden Ring when it came out, they were doing their first playthrough. I had already made over 200 different characters, tested all the different builds and styles, leveling and everything for like the first half of the game. I'd fought the first half of the bosses like 1,000 times more than anyone else in the game by the time anyone had beaten it for the first time. It was pretty nuts. Like, I was so good at those first boss fights. Storyline about Guild Wars 2, though. I mean, I could give you sort of the official storyline. I have my own theory, but like I have my own theory of what they could do for the story in the future. But I had posted that on my original Reddit and stuff online, and it ended up getting banned for posting my lore content, which I thought was kind of dumb, but apparently people don't like theories. But if you want to get really into it, the basic storyline, sort of, I'm a little fuzzy on most of it. I'll try to get this done because I have to get ready for work soon. But how to start it? I mean, I don't think the storyline is necessarily the biggest like draw into Guild Wars, but Guild Wars 1 story was pretty good. Guild Wars 2 is kind of, going a little bit in randomized places and stuff. It's not necessarily as serious as Guild Wars 1 was. But they could very easily make like a really interesting story now that the End of Dragons is done. Like it would be very easy to make a really impactful, like serious storyline that would draw people back in for sure. But I don't know if they're gonna do it or not. Like they do so many like joking, relaxed sort of things in the story. But if they cut that short right now and like started putting some more serious stuff in, like let's say that this first part of Guild Wars 2, you go through the whole storyline, you make all these friends, you're starting to have the trauma, you're getting these like funny DMV experiences and stuff, and like while you're doing these really serious things, but then like some stuff starts happening. I think they could start it off with killing one of the characters off and really set the tone for an expansion. Just kill one player off. It would make kind of more of the game focus go back on your character if that happened. And then if you start expanding into new realms, like even like Aurene, um, you wouldn't necessarily want Tyria to be undefended. So it would make sense that you would want to leave somebody behind to guard the realm while you're gone, you know? There's some stuff that they could do, most definitely. I just think that if they wanted to really kind of make it more impactful over the long term, all these little bitty things and details, these funny moments, the weddings, um, the little dinner parties, all this stuff at the first of the base game, now that EOD's over, they could start tearing those stories apart a little bit. And then later on, you'd be looking back and be like, I remember when we just used to be like having dinner parties and going to weddings, you know? And now, like, some of these characters, I mean, people died or got messed up. Like, they could definitely do it, but I don't know if they will. Story wise, though, like, it's kind of more. I personally would like just the Guild Wars 1 story on its own without any EOD or dragon lore from Guild Wars 2 I like a little bit more, but if you combine the whole thing together, it's something along the lines of like everything was void, then things were made, the dragon like made the world, and then they needed more people to like filter out the magic, so she made the elder dragons. And then there's like gods that have like a different planet or different realms, and then they bring people to Tyria, and then they basically progress like they land down here over by Cantha or whatever, and or wherever that is, and they progress more and more north. They start going into the Silver Waste. They start moving up towards Ascalon. They run into the Char. Balthazar's leading the humans against the Char, and they push them back to this wall, and then they start expanding over this direction. Basically, that would be like the gist of things. The gods find the bloodstones from ancient races that survived dragon events in the past or whatever. They're giving out magics to humans and races and stuff. And then a war starts breaking out, and then they take it back. Abaddon was like the one in charge of all this, refuses, rebels against the other gods. They turn into a massive fight, which blows up and causes the desolation. Where an ocean or whatever basically gets turned into sand, and then Abaddon's imprisoned, and then Abaddon ends up trying to free himself or whatever, and he's making demons and stuff trying to destroy the world. But in Guild Wars 1, you're like in Ascalon. Abaddon ends up making Titans. The Char want their own god, so they start worshiping Titans. The Titans give Char powers. They use the Fire Legion's magic, which is what they get from the Titans, to go and destroy the wall and destroy Ascalon. The people from Ascalon have to flee and go across the Shiver Peaks and stuff. Prince Rorik is with you. He ends up getting picked off during this travel, trying to get refugees and stuff from Ascalon over to Kryta. There's like a big dwarf settlement here, the last like dwarf strongholds and things that you're fighting through, and he ends up giving his life for you. You get over into Kryta, and you get your next bastion of humanity. You're trying to defend against some stuff. You get access to Lion's Arch, which eventually, when Factions comes out, you get to go across to Cantha. And then there's basically a prophecy, and Glint is like the elder dragon that has the prophecy they're telling you about, and you have to go on an adventure going through all these jungles and killing raptors and dinosaurs and going across deserts and becoming ascendant and learning about like Terai Osai and the White Mantle and stuff. And the White Mantle are gathering people with this eye that basically is like a Mersat item that you get to see in Guild Wars 2 that basically shows people who are like chosen, and they're taking them and they're sacrificing them on the bloodstones and stuff. And then there's the whatever the people that are protecting the queen, I forgot what they're called, Shining Blade, who are like fighting against the White Mantle. A bunch of stuff, but basically you go on a journey, you fight the White Mantle, you fight the Mersat, which started coming back after their disappearance in the past. The Mersat are seen as gods as the White Mantle, which is why they're following them. And you have to try and save all these people they're sacrificing, destroy the Bloodstone, destroy the Mersat, all of that stuff up to the Ring of Fire. And then like the Canton expansion, the Emperor of Cantha is given power by Dwayna. So they have a ritual that they do. I don't know exactly what the ritual does off the top of my head, but I have my lore theories about it, which has to do with the gods and all of that, which is a whole other big deal. But basically, like when you come to Cantha, you come here. There's Shiro Tagachi is like a bodyguard of the Emperor. He's basically like an assassin warrior dude. He's like super badass. Now he's protecting them against assassins, all this stuff for a long time. There's this fortune teller lady, which is like a demon or something. I also have a theory about her being in my thing, but she's like slowly telling him like he's gonna die if he doesn't like do some stuff and like kill the emperor or whatever. eventually, over like a period of time, he slowly starts losing it, and the Emperor's doing his little uh, ritual they have to do, and Shiro Tagachi kills the Emperor and absorbs the power that Dwayne had give to the Emperor. And during that time, there's a Luxon faction and a Cruiser faction that are farther south that basically showed up a little bit after the Cantha area was settled in the past, I believe. And there's two heroes of them. One's Saint Victor, and the other one is uh God, whatever his name is. Anyway, there's a hero from both of them. If you play the Revenant, and the Elite Spec from EOD has access to both of them, that's basically what that is. So there's two heroes that are there during the ceremony. When Shiro kills the Emperor, they barge in, end up taking Shiro's swords, and they kill Shiro, which causes the Jade wind. Shiro ends up exploding into this magical burst of energy, which causes the forest to turn to stone, the Jade to turn to or the sea to turn to Jade and stuff here. A bunch of stuff happens. The plague starts coming. These like plague-born zombie creatures are like taking over, and you got to fight back against them and stuff. And you and Master Togo are going on an adventure to go and win everything back. Shiro has become like this spirit. He's using these spirit powers to like create and manipulate these plague creatures. And I don't know what Arkamora means, but he's manipulating these plague creatures and he's trying to come back to life or whatever, and he has to kill another emperor or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but basically you're fighting these plagues and you're going to fight Shiro this whole time, and then you slowly learn that like Master Togo is like the brother of the emperor, and during like your last fight, Master Togo gets skewered. Oh, Arkham Mortis. Yeah, yeah. That is true. But so Master Togo gets like skewered. It fulfills something that lets Shiro come back from the spirit realm, and then you have to fight Shiro in his physical form again, which I feel like he was more powerful as a spirit anyway. But yeah, so you end up having to fight him, beat his ass. He dies, goes back to the spirit world or whatever, but gets punished and sent to Abaddon's realm, which then he gets basically turned into a general or a slave of Abaddon. But basically, Abaddon's slowly gaining more and more power, and he's breaking free from his chains. So Nightfall and stuff starts happening, and Abaddon is starting to escape and is going to destroy the world or whatever. So you go on an adventure to stop Abaddon. Mainly Guild Wars 2, or Guild Wars 1, but I kind of combined both of them. So the lore that you get in Guild Wars 2 about the storyline is about the gods pre Guild Wars 1, basically. So most of the lore from Guild Wars 2 is basically pre Guild Wars 1 stuff. But then even before the gods, Guild Wars 2 wise, there's ancient races. Like all of these creatures that you fight in the open world are actually ancient races, and they were civilized and powerful at one point and ended up getting wiped out, which is why now they're like a bunch of dum-dums running around trying to smash you with maces. But yeah, this is basically all the Guild Wars 1 game is what we're at now. The pre-stuff with the gods waging a war and all that stuff is essentially Guild Wars 2 lore getting put into Guild Wars 1. But the main thing to take away from it is Cantha or Ascalon, Kryta, they all kind of stem from the same place with the gods. They're all like descended from, well, at least Ascalon, and Kryta are all descended from one king. So they're all pretty much one bloodline. But basically, though, in Guild Wars Nightfall, Abaddon's escaping and starting to cause nightfall, and he's going to destroy the world. So you have to go on a new adventure when you go over to this area, and you get to learn about Powwow Joko and Tarai Osai, fighting the undead, trying to stop that guy because he's always causing problems. And you have to journey into the realms of madness, the realms of torment and nightmare or whatever to fight Abaddon. You learn about like the Order of Whispers and stuff. You get to go and find like Cormyr and the Sun Spears, and you're gonna fight Abaddon. And the gods refuse to fight Abaddon because they destroyed like a piece of the world in the past fighting them, and so they end up bestowing Cormyr with the ability to absorb a god's magic and become a god herself. She ends up losing her vision at some point. I don't remember from what, but you know, Cormyr's being Cormyr dumb back in those days. But you end up defeating Abaddon at some point, and Cormyr ascends to godhood. So she is a new replacement for Abaddon. So Abaddon is the god of like water, knowledge or secrets, and then Cormyr became the god of truth and all that, and ascended up to godhood. So she basically kept Abaddon's magic from exploding like an atom bomb. Abaddon's death caused some sort of trigger or something to happen, which goes into the next expansion, Eye of the North, where one of the Elder Dragons, Primordus, is up in the mountains or whatever, and is starting to wake up, and destroyers are starting to attack, which causes the Asura. I feel like I'm messing something up here. The destroyer causes the Asura to come out of the ground, basically. And so they become like a faction. You end up meeting like Jorah, which is a badass Norn chick. Her brother's Svanir got turned into a cursed bear. The Asura end up coming out and using their golem tech to defend themselves and trying to learn about the world. So you got Jorah, badass Norn chick. You got Vec, which is like a crazy Asuran dude, which is really cool. And then you have Ogden Stonehealer for the dwarfs. I guess I should have mentioned some of the other heroes to the game, like Prophecies. I think you had like Livia, which was like a core person. Uh, Nightfall, you had like Koss and Cormyr and stuff, which is why they show up in Guild Wars 2. But here you got Ogden Stonehealer, Vec, Jorah is like the main three. And you got to stop the destroyer from basically destroying everything and waking up. You're learning about the dragon. You got to use Vec and them to help learn about that. And there's a prophecy from the Dwarf King that Jalis that is going to turn all the dwarfs to stone and allow them to fight the dragon and like put it back to sleep, which is why all the dwarfs get turned back to stone when you're doing this. But you basically go on a journey, have to help Jorah like save her brother or kill her brother, help Vec and his people, help the the dwarfs and all them, get every people together like an alliance and fight the destroyer to put them back to sleep. And then Guild Wars 2 happens, which is like hundreds of years later. And then the Elder Dragons start waking up again one by one because magic is leaching back out into the world. Eventually, there's so much magic that the dragons wake up and try and consume it and cleanse it again, which is part of the reason why the Bloodstone was made in the first place, was to store magic, I guess, and keep it away from the dragons originally. So they're really powerful magical items. And yeah, then you get into Guild Wars 2 stuff where you have to fight each of the dragons because they're waking up, and then each time you kill a dragon, the balance comes undone around Tyria because each of them are purifying ley lines and magic, and then when you kill them, magic seeps out into the world, which I think lore-wise they should make that to why the elite specs are a thing, because each time you kill a dragon, you get excess magic in the world, which would potentially unleash an elite spec. So if they ever wanted to stop doing elite specs, I think that'd be a decent reason to like explain it. But Yeah, so and then basically the dragons are just absorbing each other's magic, so they're not separated anymore. They're combining into one entity, and the void corruption from each of their magics is slowly corrupting each of them more and more. And then you get up into like Suan and all of them turning into the void creature. But by the end of EOD, they basically make it to where the void is sealed away. However, we were stuck in this area, which means we didn't get to protect any of the outside areas that could be future expansions. So there could be anything left out there. And then void-wise, Cormyr didn't leave until like Path of Fire or whatever. So the other gods were already gone. And my theory is that Lissa is actually a bad god, or at least part of her is bad, something like that. But that's a whole other ball game. I'd have to explain a whole lot on it, and I'm losing my voice. But that's a gist of the vagueness of the story. There's probably something that I'm missing, but yeah, my grand theory is that with how they're doing all this inclusivity in Guild Wars 2, they could still make wars between the different factions if they wanted, but I think they're gonna kill off the gods. They'll either replace the gods or they will kill them off completely, just like they did the dragons. But my vote is, if Lissa's bad and we do end up replacing the gods, Ritlock gets to be the god of war. I guess Queen Jenna could be. I was gonna say Duena, but that doesn't necessarily make sense. I would think like members of the Pact would be part of it, because like you could say like Sylvari, Melandru, Char, God of War. I think humans would be more Duena. Asura would be more like gods of knowledge. I don't know who would be Alyssa though. But I'm gonna head out because I gotta get ready for work though. Thank y'all guys for tuning in and stuff. I kind of bored, I guess, the other people that were in here because I talked too long. I wasn't playing, but it's all right. I'll probably be on maybe a little bit in the morning or tomorrow, but Monday I'll probably be building on my house. But usually I'll play like Monday through like Wednesday or Thursday, so something like that. We'll try to finish this out. I got to keep track of the Black Lion keys and all that stuff while we do this. So, all right. Y'all guys have a good one, and if y'all have any suggestions for things, just like send me like a private message or something, and I'll read it.